Hello and welcome to our S3 viewers. Good evening to you. My name is Bongi Wezwane. Top stories on the Full View. Without a mayor after Jama-ah councillor Thapelo Amad resigns.
Breaking news, Thapelo Amad resigns in the city of Johannesburg. I'm standing by with the latest.
ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa says the party's National Executive Committee recognizes the significant steps government is taking to resolve the power crisis. In sports, the South African Football Association reports a net loss of nearly 3 million rand, along with plans to appoint permanent coaches for junior teams and to revisit the SABC broadcast deal. All right, let's start with our breaking news story at the South. Thapelo Amad resigning as the city of Johannesburg's mayor. Our reporter Mbalenhle Mthethwa is standing by. Mbalenhle.
Certainly, Bongiwe, yes, Thapelo Amad has resigned. Now, I just want to take you back to the time when that motion of no confidence was tabled against the former mayor, Dr. Mpho Phalatse. Now, one of the biggest concerns there was the issue of stabilizing the city's finances. We understand that the city found itself in a very difficult position where we even heard the now MMC, or maybe former MMC for finance, who is an ANC candidate, Dada Murera, saying that it was of utmost importance that they had to make this decision, or came to that decision, to stabilize the city's finances because service providers had not been paid, and that the city did not have sufficient funds to even run a municipality, and that the first order that they were going to then try and perform as, you know, the coalition in power in the city of Johannesburg was to get a loan approved. And we understand that that 2 billion rand loan was approved inside council. And today we hear that Jama-ah has handed over a letter of resignation coming from the city's executive mayor, Thapelo Amad, who joins us now. But it seems as though even though there's this resignation, the coalition still believes that it's still intact, it's still very strong. You will remember that there were some unhappiness that was expressed by the Patriotic Alliance following what transpired in the city of Ekurhuleni. When those MMC positions were announced, we saw a split between the ANC and the EFF, 5 positions going to the ANC and 5 positions going to the EFF. We then heard that the Patriotic Alliance's Gayton McKenzie would be available for the mayoral position, but today he has actually said that the offer is off the table. But I'm just rambling on. I'm actually joined by Thapelo Amad, who is going to just tell us about, you know, how you're feeling. It's been a couple of months. I'm sure it's been very stressful. You've been at the helm in one of the biggest cities and not necessarily in South Africa, but, you know, the biggest economy in South Africa. How are you feeling?
Thank you, Mbali. Not just in South Africa, but in the continent. It has been an emotional day for some in the city of Johannesburg or whoever, everywhere in the part of the world. But however, for me in particular, I would like to cite that I was once asked, how do you sleep at night leading this economic hub of the entire continent? I said, I sleep peacefully. I don't even use tablets. On the basis that I ensure that services are rendered to the residents of the city of Johannesburg, and I'm also hands-on. I'm seen on the ground providing those services. So by the time I go to bed, I'm very exhausted, and it makes me sleep peacefully. Of course, we've achieved a milestone in the city of Johannesburg. You've just cited that we've achieved the loan that has been operationalized to serve the residents of the city of Johannesburg. We've spoken to other areas of service delivery that we've managed to achieve as this administration that we've just collapsed today. Itembelihle, there's an informal settlement in Region G, Itembelihle, where with stakeholders of the business stakeholders, we've managed to create a digital system where they were given a plate of a number of a check, because our checks are not formalized. So if there are issues of GBV, there are issues of EMS, maybe an ambulance has to come and respond in terms of service.
This obviously makes it easier for law enforcement and emergency. But certainly, I mean, the other issue here, I mean, and this is a question that has come up, is that did you decide to resign, or were you pushed? And was the comments made about the 9 billion rand part of the reasons why you have chosen to make this decision?
The 9 billion rands has no bearing on my resignation. This is why I didn't even articulate the 9 billion rands. Whatever that has been said, it's a public's opinion. I've done nothing wrong. I haven't stolen from anyone. So the 9 billion rand as well came as a citation, as an example that I was saying there's a potential prospect. So it has nothing to do with my resignation. I feel that I've done my part as the executive mayor in the city of Johannesburg. You should know yourself that for the longest of time we had the disruption of water in the city of Johannesburg. Fundamentally, when I came, within two months, I resolved the issue of areas that were highly affected with the disruption of water without...
Were you worried at all about the motion, no confidence motion that you had coming, that you had hanging over your head, really?
The coalition is intact with the partners. We were going to face and challenge any motion that was going to disrupt the service delivery of the residents, because we put the residents ahead of our interests. So this is why the Speaker hasn't resigned. It's not only the Executive Mayor's motion that was coming, it was the Speaker and the Chief Whip and the Executive Mayor, the tracker. But for me personally, I feel that I fulfilled my mission. I need to allow the space for fresh minds, fresh ideas, new leadership to hold a fort, and we must focus on the 2024 campaign.
Now, certainly, as the Speaker, you can obviously educate us about the administrative processes of council. Now that, there's been a resignation, have you received the letter? Has your office received that resignation letter? What happens tomorrow?
Thank you, Mbali. Yes, unfortunately, we received the resignation letter, sadly so. And I've informed my legal team back at the office. They are processing that letter. In fact, I was informed that a notice should have gone out now to postpone the council meeting, because effectively it means that we don't have any executives. Because once the mayor resigns, all the MMCs immediately falls off. Therefore, there'll be no one to present any reports tomorrow in council. So it makes that council really null and void. And they have also looked at the most probable dates that we can have our next council to elect a new mayor. And that is looking like next week, Tuesday. So that notice has gone out.
But let me ask this. If there are other members inside council who decide to go ahead and still convene a council, is it at all possible to do that without the Speaker, or without the Speaker convening council?
Look, you would have seen that Tshwane tried to do that without a speaker. Ekurhuleni tried to do that under the leadership of the DA, and they failed even in court. Once there's a sitting speaker, it is the speaker's responsibility, mandate, and prerogative to call the council meetings. You cannot override that responsibility of the speaker. That is legislative, and that is also according to our rules. So that is not even in question. The meeting has to be postponed. The next council sitting that's going to sit next week, Tuesday, it will be to elect a new mayor who will then put in the executives. Then the order of business can proceed.
Thank you so much. There you have it. We will then know next week who will then take over as the executive mayor of the city of Johannesburg. And as you know, that council meeting that was due to sit tomorrow, where there are various motions of no confidence, including a motion of no confidence in the now resigned Thapelo Amad, have all fallen away, and council will not convene tomorrow. And as you've heard, according to the rules, it is somewhat impossible to then convene council when there is a speaker really that is in the position. It's back to you in studio.